Yeah, it is. And we are live. Welcome to the commentary cam for the Super2 Bathurst 125. It's got a ring to it.
Good stuff.
Link, if you want to watch the race itself, is down in the description box below. Enjoy. Now, better link this to some people. I'm just going to put it on Slack. So weird.
Oh, fuck.
There.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Now, I'm going to mute that. And mute us there. Sounds like Eminem.
The quick brown fox jumps over the wily whatever.
Yeah, oh, you're doing your vocal exercise.
Wah wah wee wah wah wah. Mo mama me me me.
Mommy mama mama. Alrighty then. One watching already. It's probably me. Okay.
Me me mamo. Me mo mama. Me mo mama. Mo me mamo.
Oh, when's
The
that?
B sharps.
The B sharps. That's the same day as Lewis's wedding, I have a feeling.
Oh, that's a big rip. You notice how I'm the cool guy that hits in going as soon as he's invited. Because I don't need to even check my calendar.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not. Sorry, Bagsy, if you're watching, I can't make it to your farewell because I RSVP'd to that wedding years ago. Okay.
Is that for actual broadcast?
What's that?
Think 182. Is
Yeah.
that for okay? Cool.
Yeah. It is. So I'm just gonna get the script up there. Alright, you ready for the 2-minute countdown?
Yeah, fucking count them on down, matey.
Alright, I'm just gonna start Chromecasting first, and then I'll hit that. Ooh, who that ugly woman?
I don't know this boy.
I don't know this boy. Where are they?
Who this fella? I don't know that fella.
I don't know this boy.
Fuck.
Who this fella?
Who this fella? I don't know this fella.
I don't know this fella.
I don't know this fella.
I don't know this boy.
I don't know this boy or this fella.
Who is this boy? This is. Oh, why isn't Media Room TV showing up on my. Oh, it's because it's on the wrong Wi-Fi network, that's why. There's still time!
There's still time. Minute 44.
There is still time. I think I need to have one ear out because I can't hear myself properly. Okay, now. Boom. Media Room.
Me moo ma me whoa.
Me my mama. Okay, like that.
Oh, I was wondering where the fucking music was coming from. What's the delay on it? About 10 seconds exactly.
Neat.
That makes sense.
Handy to have. Numbers are getting... they're getting up there. They're not.
You got to say hello to Dink 182. Because he's already watching. What a bro.
Yeah. Great name, bro.
On your Dink 182. I love your hit song.
No one knows you when you're 22.
All the tall things.
Tall the all things.
All the tall things.
I will not go. Turn the lights off. Carry me back to my house.
Because I'm incapable of walking.
So,
doesn't roll off the tongue.
So incapable, man. 10 seconds, lads.
10-second warning. Go, 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 go.
Mamma mi mamma mo.
Mimo mame.
Good evening and welcome to the Automobilista Supercars Bathurst Week. We've got a huge week of Automobilista action coming up for you all, starting tonight with round 8 of the ASC Super 2 Championship. The Bathurst 125. Stairs and Madbird keeping you company tonight. Madbird, this is our first time calling the action for Super 2.
Absolutely. We've been over at the main series so far for this year, but now, since the main series Bathurst race is happening on Sunday, much like the real Bathurst, which is just past us, then we have got a opening in our very busy schedule, since we are very busy and important people. So we've decided to grace the little fellas and head on down to the Super 2s. And I'm looking forward to it, Stairs. I recognise some of the names from dipping into the main series and also from AMS Oz in the past and other stuff as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing them race.
That's exactly right, Madbird. There's been a couple of these guys who've got the call up through wildcards and just basically filling empty spots whenever they are needed. And here is the driver's points for the Super 2 Championship. This is actually the 8th round, as I said earlier in the broadcast, of the Super 2 Championship. And Instinct with a very healthy lead, 234 points over Termo for Irwin Racing. Cam Rutledge in 3rd place there for CRE Motorsport, followed by JP Courier with 1 win and 5 podiums. Very consistent there. Tony for Stealth Penrite Racing in 5th place, ahead of RSM Latino and Wayne Carr, who are tied on 1,026 points apiece. So tonight will be something of a tiebreaker for those two as we head into the back end of this championship, followed by a Claim Bite in 8th place on a square 900 points. Thomas Paul in 9th place, and father of the admin Kurt Stenberg, Stenny there in 10th place, rounding out the top 10 on the Devil's number 666.
It's incredibly pleasing there that RSM Latino and Wayne Carr are on the same points and are part of the same team, RSM Racing. That gives me the good tingles.
Speaking of good tingles, for RSM Racing, they are leading the teams championship there in 2 different Commodores, the VF and the ZB, representing RSM Racing 2 and RSM Racing 1.
Yeah, not many. I don't see many many Mustangs there, or any, as the case may be. We've got JP's Simshed coming in 3rd place with Owen Racing behind them in 4th. CRE Motorsport for Cam Rutledge down in 5th place. MP Sim Sports in 6th. Stealth Penrite Racing in 7th, which I believe is a junior offshoot of our own admin Colin Warwick's team. We've got Ford Racing Jack Daniels in 8th. Stenny Racing Team representing for the big man in 9th. And we've got Orkin Steel in 10th place with a Ford Falcon FGX.
Well, we're now into the qualifying session, so let's start bringing you some of the action from the pit lane. Let's go to the top of the mountain here with a Claim Bite currently on his outlap. 30-minute qualifying session to set the grid tonight, and it should be very, very interesting indeed to see who is quickest across the top of the mountain.
Looked like someone had already had an issue at the top of the mountain, and Claim Bite just sort of drove through an enormous cloud of smoke that was already hanging in the air. So not sure what's happened there, but he probably could do without that distraction as he's preparing himself for the first hot lap. We have SDS Racing in the chat saying the mountain is calling. It is indeed, my friend, and we have Dink 182, hit band of all the tall things, saying GG. We completely agree with you there, Dink.
Great name, Dink182. Glad to have you along. We hope you are going to enjoy the action tonight. We've got a spotter guide in front of us with all of the drivers because we're not terribly familiar with a lot of these names, having commentated on the Supercars main series for most of the year. But a couple of liveries that have been used in the main series. I see the Pleb Sim Sport livery on this spotter guide, driven by Lewis Kugali, but he hasn't made his way into the server yet. We've got Turmo, Wayne Carr, Cam Rutledge, Stenny, RSM Latino, Steve Burko, a claim bite, someone who goes by the name of SS, and the less said about that, the better, Glenn Miles, and Dodger, who anyone who was watching our broadcast back in Tasmania will probably remember with quite a bit of fondness.
Dodger, a absolute fan favourite. I cannot wait to see how he tackles the mountain. As you say, there's a few names I recognise. Glenn Miles, of course, from AMS Oz. I recognise the DuPont car of Jack Handel and the FGX Falcon of Thomas Paul, who have both had stints in the main session.
Just watching, Wayne Carr, who's the first car on a lap at the moment, and he's just had quite a moment there at the top of Mountain Straight going through Griffin's Bend, and that's probably going to hurt him, I would say, as he heads up towards the top of the mountain. Behind him, though, a claim bite looks like he's on a pretty decent lap.
Yeah, he's looking clean so far. Not anything too Larry, but he's definitely keeping all four tyres pointing in the right direction, which is more than can be said for Wayne Carr, as my goodness, he's managed to lose it. Whereabouts is that?
It's right up the top of the mountain there, and he's got to get out of the way. He was actually on the escape road to the left-hand side, and he's waiting now for, I think that must be a claim bite to go past the scene of the accident. And that's not going very well for him. Purple in the first sector for Cam Rutledge. We haven't been following him. He's gone 0.6 faster than the time set by Wayne Carr, but that's now been surpassed by Turmo on a 52.4.
Yeah, Turmo on an absolute blistering run by the looks. As we got Wayne Carr heavily into the wall at the dipper by the looks of it, just straight on. All I could hear was an almighty crash, but he appears to be continuing his lap. So I guess might as well at that stage. You're already committed to. You've already done, 2/3 of the lap. Turmo, meanwhile, behind them, very clean through Forest Elbow as he shoots on down Conrod Straight. One of the longest straights in Australian motorsport stairs, and leads into the fastest corner in Australian motorsport.
Gone quicker across the top by 0.6 of a second over Cam Rutledge, who until that point had the fastest middle sector. So looking forward to seeing what the time is for Turmo as he slams the anchors on down into the chase, get it turned in. Doesn't go wide, and that's half the battle, really. He's just got 2 more corners to go, the exit of the chase, and then don't bin it down at Murray's corner, down the hill towards the final corner. Wayne Carr making his way back into the pits. He's got too much damage to carry on for another lap. But Turmo, the time will stop, and it is a 2:08.975.
Decent time from Turmo. I'm keeping a weather eye on Dodger, who's still just sitting in the pits. I'm anxious to see him get out there. We've got SS in what appears to be a incredibly plain white livery that I unfortunately do not see on our spotter's guide.
New driver. I believe it's his first Super 2 race. And, he's just kept that out of the barriers. Locked that right up.
Well done.
And hopefully doesn't rejoin in front of... Never mind.
Very nearly...
Stenny going through there.
Yeah, gave Stenny a little bit of a fright, I imagine. Stenny with quite a colourful livery,
it must be said. He goes third on a 2:13.425.
Stenny with the FCKU livery.
What that stands for?
Not sure. I'm not sure I understand the... Not sure I understand the inference there. It's all Greek to me, and indeed Arabic letters.
Well, we do use Arabic numbers, and the one at the top with the number 1 in front of his name is Turmo still, and he's setting the timing screens alight again with a 52.3 to the first sector split. Just trying to see who else is on a good lap. There is Dodger. He's made it out of the pits. You were looking out for him, and there he is.
Yep, he's coming up through the corner at the top of the hill, whose name escapes me.
Griffins,
thank you. And he's shooting up towards Forest.
He's shooting up?
He's... and he's gone straight into the tyre power
That's
signs.
the cutting, by the way.
You wanted to say hello to the tyre power pro.
He did say hello. There's a lot of traffic right across. You can see now
gosh.
Stephen Burko coming up across Dodger. Let's hope he's not on a fast lap.
Because he definitely isn't anymore.
Because he's not anymore, and he's going to have to back out of that one, so that's incredibly unfortunate. Quite a striking livery there on Stephen Burko's car, the mother livery, and he's had to back out there. He's probably in frustration, I would say, more than anything else, as the Jack Daniels car just returns to the track. Somehow it was already ahead, unless that was another car that he was just letting through. No, it is Stephen Burko, who again, he has just let through. What else have we got on the timing screens? Termo's done a 2:09.1 on the previous lap, which was 0.2 slower than his first lap. So although he went purple to the first sector, it escaped him after that.
Yeah, so suffice to say, it's been an eventful outlap for Dodger. I look forward to seeing what his hot lap is going to look like.
Oh, look at this. Cam Rutledge is up through the first sector, split by 0.5 of a second. As he get two wheels up on the curb there, and that's going to be incredibly costly across the top of the mountain. Glenn Miles getting out of the way quite smartly. He would have had to wait a long time to get his foot back on the throttle, but let's see how much time that has cost Cam Rutledge. Very, very close on track violations there as he came over towards the dipper, and he's just got a few corners now between where he is now and Forest Elbow. And shortly after that, we'll get a read on what his time to the second sector split was. But I think that may well have cost him a fair chunk, over a second. So Cam Rutledge, I reckon he's got it in him, but just needs to keep off that inside curb.
Yeah, currently Termo's lap is looking untouchable, judging by the other runs we've seen. Just watching Dodger as he heads up underneath the Petters sign and is approaching Griffin's Bend. And taking it very cautiously, it must be said. Captures a little bit of curb on the entrance and a lot on the exit. And he's got, unfortunately for him, not for Dodger, but for Steve Burko. Steve Burko is now behind Dodger once again, which he probably wouldn't be enjoying, as he goes through the cutting and shoots his way up towards the top of the mountain and begins the tortuous set of right and left corners that are taken almost at full pace. For most people anyway, and there's that little grate to give you the turn-in point for the left-hander before you hit the top of the mountain and skyline.
Oh, sorry, just RSM Latino spinning at the top of the mountain. He's well out of the way there for Dodger as he comes down. He's got the yellow flag though. He won't know where that car is, and RSM Latino has now spun back onto the racing line, but I think Dodger will be not close enough to be badly affected by that. Sorry to cut across you there, Mad Bird.
Oh, no, that's all good. Anything that affects Dodger's lap is something that I'm interested in hearing about. Dodger going through Forest Elbow doesn't trouble the apex or the exit line there as he starts his run down Conrod Straight under the Jim Beam sign. And then we've got some other hoarding there on the right and left, and under the Fuso Truck sign, shooting on down into the chase, the fastest corner in Australian motorsport, 300 kilometres an hour.
Drink if you're playing skate bingo.
and doesn't go deep there, as you were saying. That is half the battle. Doesn't trouble the apex overly much either. It's
not actually that bad a lap. I'd say it's quite clean.
No, it is actually quite clean compared to his out lap. It's a work of art. And it is going to be a 2:20.324, so about 11 and a half seconds or thereabouts down on the pace, but still ahead of SS, who
is off the track at the moment.
As our old mate Think 182 has said, who is that SS guy? He seems new. I believe Stez did say that.
He is new, and as you can see, he hasn't got a livery for this. Even his headlights are white. As he gets it right out sideways.
Good catch.
Right out sideways. Skate bingo, tick that one off. Coming out of the final corner, so might have some pace in him yet. He hasn't really shown us anything what I would call representative just yet, as RSM Latino makes his way out of the pits. Currently sat in 4th place on a 2:10.2. Actually not too, it's only about a second and a half separating the top 4, and RSM Latino, he's got a podium. which came back in the first round of Super 2, which was the Barbagallo Super Night event. He'll be looking to add to that tally tonight. Beg your pardon, that was last round in Auckland where he came on the podium. It was a fourth place finish, I believe, in Perth. So he's the one who is currently tied on points with Wayne Carr that we mentioned, up in third place. That's a tasty little battle there, third and fourth. And funnily enough, when not too much splits them in the points, nothing much splits them on the timing sheets either.
Absolutely, quite close together, and probably one of the tighter battles to watch for in the standings. We've got just over 17 and a half minutes left in this qualifying session, so probably if they're committed, that's probably a decent. It's probably a decent 8 laps or so. Steve Burko loses it on Comrade Straight. He just dipped a couple of tyres in the grass, just wasn't paying attention, I think. And he's done quite well to not have an immense accident there. He's ping-ponged off the wall and done a full 360, but wound up facing the right way. So probably a bit of a win there as he took out the Fuso truck sign. It looked like a heavy impact, but managed to catch it as it wiggled, and he's gone straight into the pits. Unsurprisingly, I would expect.
Add that to your escape bingo card. He's in the fence. He's in the pits now. Let's have a look at RSM Latino going deep at the chase. That's completely buggered that lap up. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't setting the timing sheets alight anyway. In fact, I think it might have even been an out lap.
Wayne Carr is 2/10 up. Sorry to cut across you there. 2/10 up on the fastest time currently as he begins his run down Conrod Straight. So this is going to be a lap time to watch, I reckon, as he approaches the chase, gets out onto the runoff. Probably had a little bit more space on his left that he could have used. He's gone very on the inside. I'm not sure.
I think he struggled to straighten the car up, and so that's why he had a very acute angle for the left-hand part of the chase there.
I hope that hasn't cost him. I mean, it will have cost him, but I hope that hasn't cost him potentially a pole sitting time as he goes around.
Understeers like a cross-channel ferry and then oversteers on the exit.
No.
Completely destroyed that lap as he reverses across just simply to register a time. Still at 2:11.7. I know people who can't manage a 2:11.7 when they're facing forwards for the whole lap. So props to him. He's committed, and that it was 2 seconds off what his best has been in this session. RSM Latino looking like he's going to improve on this lap. By a quarter of a second, he's up through the first sector split.
It's good stuff. He seems to be quite tidy so far as he heads into Skyline. Nice and tight there, a little bit deep, but manages to get it around without tapping any walls as he's flying through these tight corners. It's almost like a tunnel. You can't see practically anything except for the walls on your left and right. He's done quite a good job there through Forest Elbow, nice and wide on the exit, and he's 7/10 almost up on his personal best time, but still 5/10 down on Termo's best time. So just goes to show how fast Termo has been.
Crucially, though, only 4.5 tenths behind Wayne Carr, so he's looking like he's going to leap up ahead of him in that battle that those two are having, and a much cleaner entry into the chase than his rival Wayne Carr had on his previous lap. So looking good for RSM Latino to catapult himself up that position as he breaks now for the final corner. A little bit of traffic up ahead, but it shouldn't. Oh, I was going to say it shouldn't affect him. It very nearly did. That was SS spinning out of the final corner there, and RSM Latino only improved by 2/10, so he doesn't actually improve on that lap. I wonder if he was just a little bit hesitant on the throttle coming out of that final corner.
I was watching Wayne Carr to see if he was going to look like he's registering a decent time, but he's currently 14 seconds down on his personal best. So
yeah, well, he didn't have a very great start to that lap when he spun out the final corner.
Definitely not. So this will be a reset, and we know that he's capable of a bit more than he's currently put down on the sheets. He's got quite he has an acute angle as he goes into the chase. It just doesn't help him at all. And he might even be abandoning by the looks of it. He's pulling off to the side of the road. Or potentially just, I don't know what he's doing. He's going to the pits. He's done an entire in-lap. Well, that's committed, but wasting a little bit of time, I would expect.
It's a very slow entry to the pit lane.
He's puttering in.
He is puttering in.
Puttering.
Meanwhile, RSM Latino's setting the screens alight. Look at that. He's up on the time set by Termo. And this is a very, very quick lap here from RSM Latino. Looked a little bit wide there. I wonder if he was able to keep his foot flat to the firewall as he comes over the crest down into the dipper. And RSM Latino is stamping his authority on this lap.
He absolutely is. Termo's just been sitting in the pits. But he might have to think about coming back out again as he watches these times coming in from RSM Latino through.
He's lost it in the elbow.
Oh, it wasn't a quick run across the top anyway. He was down 6/10 by the time he lost control. So he'll need to have a reset and try to improve on his next run if he hasn't given himself some damage.
It's a damn shame.
It is a damn shame. It is a damn shame.
Steve Burko isn't doing anything really noteworthy. 0.7 of a second off his PB through the first sector split. But the thing about this track is that we don't know. Oh, RSM Latino, what's he doing?
Off at the chase. He looks like he was looking for that jump of ours.
Yes, there is a jump there. If you are, oh goodness gracious me, we've had some comments in the top chat, in the live chat. Hello guys.
So
good to have you along.
Got a few people asking how many cars there's going to be. We've got confirmation.
We were hoping for more.
There will be 12 as a warm up. There's a couple of technical issues by the looks of it. John McDonald in particular having an icebox issue.
What?
And we've got Thomas McMillan asking where is Dodger Cam. I'm sure that's something we could arrange for potentially his next hot lap.
Is John McDonald in relation to Kurt Kostecki? Anywho, we've got Wayne Carr on an outlap, so we won't really focus on that until he actually starts his flying lap. Steve Burko, who was 0.7 down at the first sector split, is now coming up to the final corner. Let's see if he's had any improvement on this lap. Very, very slow through that final corner. He got a bucket load of understeer, and in the end, that's only good enough for 5th place again. So Steve Burko in 5th place. RSM Latino, he's only one position up ahead of Steve Burko, but he has been threatening brilliance from time to time during this qualifying session, and it just hasn't come together over the course of an entire lap for him.
That's absolutely correct. Sorry, you threw to me and I was busy explaining to a friend.
I was running out of things to say.
Oh, that's all good. I made a reference that someone in the Formula One Grand Prix came from Nagoya to make a pass, meaning that he came from quite a long way back. But a friend of ours who's not as au fait with Japanese geography did not understand the reference, so I was simply explaining it to him. Dodger is coming up at a rate of knots behind a claim bite into the chase. Luckily, no horrible accident has occurred as Wayne Carr starting his hot lap by the looks of it.
Yeah, let's jump on board now with Cam Rutledge, because he's setting a pretty quick pace right now. What's that? 10th of a second up on his PB and a marginal amount up on the benchmark that has been set by Termo. So Cam Rutledge is definitely the man to watch right now. Currently sat in 2nd place, 0.7 down on Termo, but it's across the top. This is where pole is won and lost, because it's the difference in difficulty between this middle sector and the first and last sector is astronomical. So Cam Rutledge coming up to that 2nd sector split, and he's lost 0.3 of a second. In fact, he's lost 0.6 of a second to Termo down there.
Stenny's just Stenny the elder, that is, has just put in a lap that has jumped him above Steve Burko into 5th place, 0.8 up on his previous best lap. So decent effort there from Stenny, as Steve Burko himself loses it heading down towards the last corner. Just got a little bit of oversteer and slammed into the wall. Did not help his run at a decent time at all. And a claim bite currently 0.5 up on his previous best, but even if he pulls that off, he is still going to be a 1.5 seconds behind Steve Burko. So no joy there for a claim bite.
So he's currently sat 5 seconds adrift of Termo, and 0.7 of a second, while it won't be enough over the course of an entire lap to get him up another position. If he can find those sorts of gains throughout the rest of the lap, he may well find himself up in around 6th place. Given Stephen Burko is having a couple of issues right now, got our eye on Arison Latino, who's currently on a flying lap, I beg your pardon now. Just coming up to the first sector split. We'll just see him across there, and he's down by 2/10, so not his best. Let's see how Acclaim Bike can manage the chase. The car's wiggling under brakes there, gets turned in nicely, and just a couple more. Did I sound surprised? I shouldn't have sounded too surprised.
Sorry.
Wayne Carr's just gone fastest again, beg your pardon, 208.9. So Termo has been displaced as the provisional pole sitter.
So it was just as you were saying that Acclaim Bite turned in for the chase nicely, I was watching Dodger sail wide at the chase and directly into the dirt. So it was just an interesting juxtaposition as Dodger then spins across the line
Oh my goodness.
to set a time 1.5 seconds slower than his personal best. So suffice to say, not an excellent lap there from Dodger, and he's continuing on with another hot lap, which I'm not sure what the point is because you've lost all your time already, mate. But regardless, Termo is up, going through the cutting. He is trying to reclaim that first place in the standings. Only 0.05 separating him from Wayne Carr ahead of him, so he wouldn't need to gain that much time in order to hop over Wayne Carr again, and Wayne Carr is not improving. Termo, however, he is currently 2.5 tenths up on the first place time through the first sector. So Termo looking like he's going to retake pole. If he manages to hold it across the top of the mountain.
There's Arison Latino into third. Actually, I just want to point your attention to, I don't think it's the case anymore, but Stenny did have the fastest middle sector.
Whoa.
Which is no mean feat. That is the driver's sector.
I was about to say, that is not something to take lightly. The middle sector is scary at the best of times.
Well, Termo's looking good for another fast lap. Let's try and see if we can catch an onboard with him coming into the chase down Conrod Straight as he looks to reclaim pole position here from Wayne Carr.
Yeah, nice and tidy through the chase. Probably could have gone a little bit wider, but he gets it pulled up nice and tidy there for the turn in. Hits the apex, doesn't go deep. Good run on towards the last corner under the Armour All bridge, I suppose you would call that, since it is in fact a bridge.
People walk through it.
Indeed. Well, I've walked over it myself.
Final corner here, Termo to the line. Is it enough to grab pole position? And 0.4 of a second.
Dominant.
Is the improvement. That is fantastic. Now we're seeing
Wayne Carr's failed to enter the pits. He's just gone very wide there.
SS is off the track.
SS also off the track.
So here is a compilation of cars off the track, and there's one back on it. So Wayne Carr has made his way back into the pits, and SS has managed to make it back onto the racetrack. So play on.
Dodger is just about to begin a properly hot lap since his last one was kind of aborted before it began. So I reckon Thomas McMillan is going to get his wish. Let's have a little onboard run here.
Let's go an onboard, yeah. Here we go.
That beautiful sound.
Now you obviously get out of the throttle, then accelerate to the corner because you brake too early and then brake again. And that's Hell Corner, up mountain straight, up through the gears and pull off to the left onto the grass and play on. Let's move to SS.
Move swiftly on.
As he comes down Conrod Straight.
I believe as we were switching to that, Dink was just saying, wish we could have some in-car footage, but I could dream. We did give you some in-car footage just now. Probably not the in-car footage that you were hoping for, however, since it was...
Well, we tried to give you an entire onboard lap, but as it turned out, Dodger was on an in-lap, or not a lap. So instead, we're now showing you Stephen Burko coming across the line 8 seconds slower than his personal best. That's the thing with these laps.
They're so long.
They come thick and fast, and sometimes I have Flux enabled on my laptop, and I can't actually tell what colour the sector splits are, so I might just turn that off.
Ethan Warren chipping in the chat just to say lob.
Oh, yeah?
Feeling cute. Might lob a bloke later.
Fantastic.
And Ben Thompson saying, go the AAA car, go Wayne. Do we have a Wayne in... We do, Wayne Carr.
Yeah, Wayne Carr, who's currently sat in second place, 4/10 adrift. And RSM Latino, well, the goalposts keep getting moved for him, don't they?
They do. The butts are being shifted faster than you can possibly imagine. Labat's being French for the goals.
Glad you knew that, because I didn't.
Wayne Carr is approaching Skyline, and by approaching, I mean currently exiting. It's gone in a flash as he's going through the 4X Gold. Beautiful beer, beautiful drinking as he heads on down towards Forest Elbow. I believe this is his outlap because we're not getting any timing.
So let's just catch Cam Rutledge across the line here. Mad Birdie's on a lap which he doesn't improve upon, and he stays fourth with that. So back to Wayne Carr.
Kurt Stenberg just saying, "Wow, I get that reference. Wow, thanks, Lewis Kogerly." I believe that was the Lobber Bloke reference, which I'm only aware of because of Stairs.
Doesn't Steve Kugley owe you money?
He does. Thank you for bringing that up. Steve Kugley, if you're listening, mate, Lewis Kugley even, you owe me $10, my friend, because I bet...
Because Thomas McMillan ran out of fuel on the last
Because he
lap.
didn't get on the podium. Thomas McMillan continued his run of either not finishing races or not getting on the podium, whatever is convenient to me at the time. Dodgers left his exit for another hot lap a little bit late. 2 minutes and 30 seconds would probably be enough for most runners, but...
Nah, he'll make it. I have faith.
Thomas McMillan just chipping in to show how incorrect he can be, saying 4X Gold is disgusting, up the VB.
Long neck.
And while it's true that VB has incredible tannins, and
Oh, crikey.
it has my clusters going off, 4X Gold is nevertheless the superior beverage.
Sick as, bro. So, Dodgers on his outlet. Let's see what Cam Rutledge can do, because he's been trying to improve. Sat there in fourth. Solid qualifying session for him so far. And the thing about this qualifying session is that the lap times just haven't continued to go up in the same sort of way. When I say up, I mean down. Of course, you understand me.
I understand what you mean, yeah.
In the same way that we can sometimes see in some of the supercars, as the track evolves, someone's on their roof. I believe
Wayne Carr has had an incredible accident across the top of the mountain, and oh my goodness.
Yeah, let's catch a replay of what happened there. He's ended up on his roof going backwards, down towards, I think that's at Skyline, and I reckon that might have been two wheels up on the curb. Yes, that's exactly what we saw RSM Latino, I think it was, do earlier on in the session. Well, you don't want that to happen in the race, do you?
Definitely not. I'm not sure how long it takes for the game to reset you onto your wheels, if ever. It looks like he is somehow steering that car while it was on his roof, but then he's gone back to the pits. So Cam Rutledge in the end did not improve his position. He is still a 10th behind RSM Latino, but he's probably got, well, he does not probably, he has this last opportunity. There's only 40 seconds left in the session.
Madbird, I reckon Dodger's going to make it. He's coming down Conrod Straight right now.
What an absolute legend. So Dodger is going to give us a absolute belter, I imagine. He's actually done quite well there through the chase.
Only two cars on the track right now, these two, Cam Rutledge and Dodger.
Well, that means we can give them both the attention they richly deserve. Cam Rutledge, because he's got a possibility to be provisionally on podium for qualifying, and Dodger for other reasons. Charcoal just saying, "I love you boys, best commentary team in the business." I love you too, mate.
Oh, thanks, Charcoal.
Greatly appreciate it.
Love it. Let's see, Dodger, 5 seconds. I told you he'd make it. But
Cam Rutledge 4 tenths up on his PB, so currently looking good to take that third place away from RSM Latino.
Yeah, let's watch that, shall we?
But he's beginning probably one of the trickiest parts of the track, down the hill towards Forest Elbow. He gets it nicely turned in there for the coat tyre, and then through the beautiful 4X Gold, love it, and he's heading down towards Forest Elbow now.
Lose a bet?
Don't know what you're talking about. Forest Gold is a lovely beverage. I don't know what Falcon do, but I bet they make a better beer than VB as he's heading on towards Conrod
I think that's
Straight.
hard.
And he is
a tenth up.
A tenth up. So
on his PB though.
He is just over 5 thousandths of a second faster than RSM Latino currently. If the lap was to end right now, which it isn't, he's still got the chase and the last couple of corners to go. Nice and tidy through the chase. Probably not as far over to the right as he would have liked, but he keeps it nice and tidy and on the track.
Did he have to get out of the throttle for too long?
Did look like it. It looked like he had a little snap of oversteer maybe and had to catch it. But he's braking for the last corner. Nice and neat through there. Not too much curb or any at all.
I like it. Checkered flags waving. Cam Rutledge to the line. Improves to third. Finds
Excellent
3
work.
tenths of a second. Top work.
Fantastic work as we now all eyes turn to the distinguished Jack Daniels driver, Dodger. as he locks up somehow heading down into Forest Elbow.
To be fair, that's quite easy. The car
That's true.
unloaded front right tyre. He's only 3/10 away from his PB, and I don't think he's put a clean lap together so far. So if he can nail the chase down and the final corner, he may well find some improvement here. Dodger currently sat in 10th out of 10 drivers. Glenn Miles just up ahead, and the inauspicious SS. So Dodger tries to get it across to the right-hand side of the track, and in doing so goes off the track. I think he was trying way too hard to make the racing line there, and in the end he ran out of time to get the thing pulled up for the corner.
He did. Not sure if his time will continue to be counted. Not sure if it matters, because I imagine that cost him enough time to be behind Glenn Miles anyway. But he's going to bring it to the line anyway. An absolute trooper, and he is 12 seconds down on the pace. So. It's a shame there that Dodger wasn't able to improve on his position, but
there's room for improvement there.
Absolutely, can only go up from here. Absolutely.
Well, that was qualifying. Thank you for watching that. Don't go away, of course, because we've got the race itself. And since I've sort of set us up for a break, we might as well have one, on the other side of which we will bring you all the action from Super 2. Don't go anywhere.
That was good.
That was good. I think we did all right.
Just for the win.
Is it better with me not leaning across you all the time?
It actually is, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're bouncing off because we're not having to switch it back.
Yeah. The only thing is I wish I had I could hear myself back a bit better, but apart from that, it's pretty good.
You sound good.
That's good.
Yeah, no homo. I don't know when this feud with Thomas McMillan began.
Is it a feud?
Between me and him. Kurt Stenberg. Is that the Ethan Warren? Is that the real Kurt Stenberg? No, it's the real Kurt Stenberg. Can I have a signature?
These are all the guys who normally racing and just sitting here watching this.
Excellent. We'll have something to bounce off when everyone crashes on lap 1.
Kurt saying, "Hi boys, in here."
Hi Kurt.
Hi Kurt. How is it hanging?
To the left or to the right?
I just realised Flux is on there, and I'm wondering if it. I don't think. Oh, it's not showing up on there.
I don't think Flux works on recording software because when I use Shadowplay, it doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think because I set so Flux would turn off when I've got OBS on, but I think it only turns it off if OBS is the active window, which doesn't work if Automobilista is the active window. Can't remember when they were supposed to start the race itself. I think it rolls straight in. So at the end
that was a very long qualifying session.
30 minutes. And that was just made worse by the fact that they weren't improving on their laps.
Oh fuck.
We're spoiled with the
main guys.
With the main guys.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all
We do the standard thing of working their way into it. Mega. Good.
Probably get more viewers on this Super 2 race than we will on the 1000.
Fuck. It's depressing.
Although having said that, the spectators will probably be watching us.
Mm.
Like the teammates. I don't know why that did that.
Watch this video on YouTube.
Playbook
Playbook on other websites has been disabled by the video on it. So yeah, don't try to watch your YouTube video on YouTube.
That's funny.
No need for big budgets, Alden, but we would greatly appreciate it.
F16, F10. We're about to go back live.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Bathurst. Just 3 hours from Sydney. Quite possibly the greatest racetrack in the world. No doubt the greatest racetrack in Australia. There she is in the Blue Mountains. And the Bathurst 125 will take place tonight over 20 laps, about 125 kilometres. We've allocated about an hour for that. Times 2 fuel usage, which means that the fuel usage will be around about 9 litres per lap for an expected stint length of 12 to 13 laps. Here they are going across the top of the mountain. The second sector split ending just after the elbow, and then the long run down Conrod Straight, the fastest straight, I should think, in Australian motorsport, into the fastest corner in Australian motorsport down there into the chase. And well, boy oh boy, I'm looking forward to this one, Mad Bird. It's just the thing to whet our appetites for the 1,000 on the weekend.
Whet our appetites, absolutely. And it is probably, from the last few rounds, this is probably the racetrack I actually know the most, because I haven't been particularly au fait with Pukekohe and such. But Bathurst, well,
you actually watched Bathurst.
I did watch Bathurst. It was my second year watching it, and I was immensely entertained. And indeed, we went to Bathurst this year, so we've got real life on track knowledge, not on track knowledge, real life at track knowledge, which probably is markedly less useful.
One of our friends, in fact, dropped his phone on this racetrack.
Absolutely. Wonder if we can get someone to mod that into this version of the track.
I would certainly hope so.
You can just see a Nokia parked near the elbow. A few comments we've had while we've been on break. We had Aidan McMillwood say, no need for big budgets these days. Pro-level broadcast lads love it. No need for big budgets, but if you want to pay us...
just by the by, we do have a Patreon we're launching this week, so just keep that in mind when you're watching the 1,000 on the weekend.
Absolutely. $2 or something. We haven't decided. We'll discuss this later.
We do have 5 screens, by the way, and that's not including the TV in the background. So we do invest a fair bit of our own equipment into this little setup, but that's because we aim to bring you the best.
Absolutely. Check out the Apex Brewing Facebook page for a photo of this setup, which I will have to remember to take. In fact,
write it on your forehead?
I might do it right now.
Well, while we're just in this lull in proceedings before the race gets started, let's talk about the weekend, because we've got the qualifying and race spread over 2 days on the weekend. That is for the top class, the Automobilista Supercars inaugural Bathurst 1000, which will be preceded on Saturday night with the top 10 shootout and qualifying session. So put that in your calendars, 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time for that one. And then the day after, race broadcast will start at 1:50 p.m. and that's about 20 minutes before the race itself gets underway. Plenty of stuff to go through prior to the race starting at 2:10 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Cannot wait for that one, as my co-commentator appears to be doing a panorama, which is probably going to have my mouth looking quite blurred because I'm talking while he's doing it.
Well, if you stop talking now while I talk, I'll just pan it across your face. Oh, you just moved your face.
Sorry.
Anyway, so I'll shove that. Oh my goodness. Oh, it came out okay, actually. You don't look that weird. I've seen much worse in panoramas.
Yeah, let's just go with that.
Fastest corner in Australia, Aidan Millwood, you are 100% correct. 300 kilometres an hour, tick off another box in your Scafie bingo, because he certainly wasn't over the weekend. What was wrong with him?
I think he was unwell, quite
He must have been. Yeah, there was no, this is our grand final. Although
he did say that many times, actually.
But not during the race itself.
This is our NRL grand final.
The AFL grand final is AFL's answer to the NRL grand final.
Well, my response to that is the AFL grand final is the AFL's Bathurst 1000.
Just to answer the Shauno 619, where's the commentator's cam? It is at Stairs' YouTube channel.
Yes, I probably should have linked it.
If you search for ASC Super2 Round 8 Bathurst commentary cam, it's a mouthful, but if you search for it, then you'll be able to watch us sort of sit here and look a little bit awkward as we lean over our microphones, or at least as I lean over my microphone, and then eventually watch the commentary cam back and just despair over how fat I look.
Or if you've got a pencil, write this down: https://YouTube.be/Z lowercase ll. I don't actually know if it's case sensitive. B D uppercase A lowercase T B uppercase X uppercase O Lowercase
Stairs.
8, yes.
They're forming up on the grid, mate.
They are, and we're looking at that. So let's get going.
Absolutely. Just a Minardi fan 95 saying there was a lot of gamesmanship on the weekend. That is absolutely true.
That's fair. That's quite fair to say.
That's very fair to say.
And always good to see a Minardi fan. Formula One, of course, is a series that isn't liked by all supercars fans, but it is by all motorsport fans, I would say. And so,
Apex just made it too. So we've got Apex and Tony have both jumped in. Oh, as I say that, Tony disappears.
He might be starting from the pit lane.
Or he's just appears to be invisible on my screen at the very least. Tony and Apex have, in theory, joined us, although Apex is the only car I can actually see since the qualifying session, so they are starting at the rear of the grid. Aidan Millwood just asking, is Coulthard still getting lynched online? I imagine so.
Probably.
Even though he was kind of just, like, he was doing his job.
Still a wankerish thing for DJR to ask him to do, but we'll move on from that. Let's take you through the grid as we get set for the Super 2 Bathurst 125. And the Irwin Racing entry, car 715, is Turmo, and he is looking for his first win. In fact, second in the championship, but we're looking for his first Super 2 win, and he's well placed in pole position to get that. Behind him is Wayne Carr for Rock Solid Mates Racing in the 81, and he's in a decent battle with the guy currently sat in fourth place. More on him later. Cam Rutledge is in third for CRE Racing. And then RSM Latino, who's tied on points with Wayne Carr, will start out of fourth place for the other Rock Solid mates. Number 72 there. Looking forward to seeing him. Stenny for Stenny Racing Team. Kurt Stenberg telling me during the week that he might be calling his strategy, but he might just sit back and watch the race instead. Stenny incidentally is telling us that he'll be running his old R-Factor livery for Retro Round. That's in Sandown.
Keen.
After Stenny, we've got Steve Burko in the Orcon Racing car number 30, starting out of 6th place there. Very distinctive livery there. And then a claim bite behind him in 7th place. SS in the plain white 95, I should say. SS car, starting out of 8th, I should say. Ahead of Glenn Miles in 9th place. I actually raced Glenn Miles back in my Automobilista Australia days, and he's shown remarkable improvement, I think, over the course of the last year, so well done to him. Dodger in 10th place, and he was the last of the qualifiers, with Apex joining after the qualifying session. He's starting out of 11th, and it doesn't look like Tony has remained in the service, so that's a real shame. It means we're down to 11 cars from 12.
Yeah, that's it's not fantastic. But we'll just have to hope that these 11 cars give us all the entertainment that we could possibly hope for. And in a race where you've got names like Dodger, Glenn Miles, Stenny, Wayne Carr, Turmo, how can you possibly not be entertained? I ask you, are you not entertained?
I think there'll be entertainment today. I can guarantee it. Names that you may not necessarily be as familiar with from watching the main series, but boy, oh boy, I mean, everyone wants to win this race. It doesn't matter whether it's Super 2 or whether it is the main category. This is Bathurst.
Absolutely, and it, regardless of the skill level or the type of car, seeing people go angrily across the top of the mountain is nevertheless a sight to behold, Stairs.
Here the cars are forming up on the grid, and a bit of a challenge to start here as the racetrack over the start-finish straight does incline a little bit as you get up towards the back of the grid, and decline as you get towards the start-finish straight. So you've got to be careful you don't roll too much. We're about to get the lights. We're about to get racing here in Super 2 now. And a pretty even start from the guys in the front. Stenny just looking like he was trying to avoid someone who was stalled, but it doesn't appear as I can't see anyone stalled. But apart from that, they've all got away quite cleanly. Bit of biffo going on in the background there as they come up Mountain Straight for the very first time, Madbird.
Yeah, it looked like a claim by an SS had a bit of a coming together, or perhaps Apex. They are running basically the identical car. But Turmo with a commanding lead off the start, although Wayne Carr is right on the back of him. which one of our viewers, I can't remember who it was, who was barracking for Wayne, will be very happy to see. Cam Rutledge.
Oh, we've got a spinner in the background there. It's one of the white cars. It's either SS
Apex.
or
It is
Apex. So not a lot of track time for him so far, and he bites it at the first opportunity, essentially.
He made up a position off the start over on Dodger, but then has lost it already to Dodger. As we hear another crash.
We've got a spinner.
Like
That's Stenny. He's around at the Fujitsu in the wall there, coming up across towards McPhillamy Park. So that's not good for Stenny. He's dropped all the way down. He hasn't come across to set a first sector split time yet, so that's hugely frustrating for him. Termo still leads as they come down into the dipper for the first time, and Wayne Carr in tow. RSM Latino and Cam Rutledge are forming a battle for third place, but already 2 seconds adrift.
Steve Burko also right behind them, so this squabble for the third place on the podium is going to be quite impressive in these early couple of laps, I reckon. We've got RSM Latino all over the back of Cam Rutledge coming out of Forest Elbow. Cam Rutledge with a very tight exit, which hasn't helped his straight line speed. Although having said that, he seems to be streaking away from RSM Latino at the moment. RSM now beginning to reel him in with the slipstream advantage, heading down up the little kink, and well, not up the little kink, up the little hump, and then into the chase. A little bit of braking there for RSM Latino. Everyone blinking a little bit earlier than they probably would. It is just lap 1 of 20. And RSM Latino right on the back of Cam Rutledge, coming out and heading down towards the last turn stairs.
Yeah, down into Murray's. Here they come, RSM Latino, trying to put Cam Rutledge under a fair bit of pressure up ahead. Termo has eked out more than a second on Wayne Carr. So this battle for third and fourth place is the closest battle on the racetrack. A bit of action going on behind, we can see on our other monitor.
It was, Apex and Acclaim Bite was squabbling along with SS. SS has been the big loser. He's dropped to the back, or I say to the back, he's dropped to 10th, with Stenny still following at the rear.
Madbird RSM Latino was pulled to the inside as they got towards Griffin Bend, and he is going to get that move done quite comfortably on Cam Rutledge and move himself up into third place.
Steve Burko, opportunistic run down towards the cutting. Is he going to be able to go around the outside? That's very gutsy. Oh, a little bit of crossover, a little bit of a lock-up. Steve Burko trying to hold on to it around the outside. That was never going to happen. And Cam Rutledge holds on to that fourth place. But my goodness, that was a gutsy little move there from Steve Burko.
Sorry, just missed that. We're just capturing a replay of that move from Steve Burko now. And there it was, coming around, trying to make it around the outside of Cam Rutledge, but that is always only a one-line part of the racetrack.
Oh, we've got Apex spun around somewhere across the top of the mountain, and he's in the wall. He's in the fence, and he's trying to get it out. Seems to be struggling to find his reverse gear. He's just slowly.
He's a bit of a liability there. He's been in that fence for quite a while.
Luckily, everyone's gone through, so he's got a bit of time to get it sorted out. And it appears that he hasn't yet, so he might be having some sort of issue there.
Fair to say.
He's still stuck. Not sure what's going on.
Oh, that's first. Reverse. Moving on. Cam Rutledge is managing to stay ahead of Steve Burko, but it looks like RSM Latino has bolted. But they have lost 6 seconds, I should say, to the leading duo. Termo now leading by 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, closest battle currently on track.
Goodness gracious, we've got all sorts of cars off at the chase here. Acclaim Bite, SS, and Glenn Miles involved in that. Let's catch a replay there.
My goodness.
Oh, someone tried to make a move here. I think it was Acclaim Bite. Or did they get collected by Glenn Miles, perhaps going deep?
No, Glenn Miles was already in the chase, so I think he was going a bit slower than they expected.
Okay, we were looking at the wrong car on that replay, evidently. It was SS outbraking himself. Glenn Miles was already going off the racetrack, and Acclaim Bite decided to escort both of them. So it wasn't an escort situation. It was just hey guys, can I join?
It was. We've still got Apex in the wall at the exit of the cutting. Luckily, he's kind of off the racing line.
Yeah, but it's not ideal because the leaders are coming through.
They are. And Wayne Carr gets a swapper on, but manages to hold on to it. That was a scary moment. And I'm not sure why he's having so much trouble getting out of the wall. Whoever it was, somebody, Dink, who was rooting for Apex, perhaps if you got contact with him, get on the horn, tell him reverse is a gear that he can select.
Do you also barrack for Pierre Gasly? Oh goodness, Glenn Miles coming up across the top there as well. So no, not ideal. Replay now of more people narrowly missing apex. The thing is that at least he is off the racing line.
He is now a lap down.
Well, yes.
So that's obviously not ideal. He is a trooper. He's still trying. Whatever it is that he's doing
isn't working.
It obviously isn't. He's found reverse, and then he switches it into neutral.
Yeah, keep us posted. We'll watch something else.
Yeah.
Oh, and we've got contact there between Stenny and Glenn Miles. And these cars aren't going to last 20 laps at that rate. There's a lot of rubbing as racing type action. I think Apex may well be a permanent fixture towards the end of the race on the inside there. Where is that actually?
He seems to be. I'm watching his gear select. It seems he'll put it in reverse and then it will suddenly switch back to neutral. So it's almost
I know
like
exactly what. Yeah, that's he's got auto shift on. So as soon as he tries to get a gear, it goes straight back into neutral. He has done it.
He's done it.
We're not going to show you because frankly, you know what a car moving off.
From RSM Latino deep at Murray's, and that has given Cam Rutledge a bit of an opening. He's not going to have a run on him at the moment, but that has certainly eaten into the advantage that he did have. Cam Rutledge now on the back. Oh my God, Dodger.
Moving on. RSM Latino, yes, does have a much reduced advantage now over Cam Rutledge. It's less than 1 second now, and he had grown that up to well over 2 seconds, I believe.
Yeah, so currently probably a Claim Bite and SS is the closest battle on track. And SS goes, commentator's curse. As my goodness, SS nearly oversteered directly into a Claim Bite, but managed to pull it up.
SS, his front tyres gained traction at the precise correct moment for a Claim Bite's race to continue because that was going to be a T-bone accident.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was finished. Go on.
Excellent. I was just going to say 4 seconds now, the gap between Wayne Carr and Turmo. Wayne Carr very nearly flipping onto 2 wheels, or he did indeed flip onto 2 wheels for a second there across the top of the mountain. And he just seems to be pushing that little bit harder, trying to catch up to Turmo, and I reckon he's going to come unstuck if he continues at this rate. Might have to resign himself to second, although what sort of racing driver wants to do that? Cam Rutledge still got RSM Latona in his sights, although the advantage is stretching, and Stephen Burko is slowly gaining on the CRE racing driver.
Just on Turmo, as he is currently leading this race, I know that the championship isn't really something you take into consideration at Bathurst, but if he does win this race, he'll collect 300 points, and with no instinct here today, he will claim the lead of the Super2 championship as he only trails by 234 points in second at the moment.
Absolutely, and judging by his performance so far, that would be deserved. He's been the class of the field so far. The race hasn't been troubled by anybody. Basically, we are only 5 laps in, but he's just been eking out that advantage lap after lap. As RSM Latino goes very deep at Murray's, that's going to give Cam Rutledge all the invitation he needs to get right up alongside down into Hell Corner.
Here we go.
He does. He goes down the inside, brakes a little bit earlier. He's not going to make the job done.
I thought he was going to go down the inside there, but he just didn't have the confidence under brakes that RSM Latino did. And look at Steve Burko buying into this behind them. This is a fantastic old battle. RSM Latino there stretching away as they come up Mountain Straight. And I wonder if that's just a bit more of a cautious approach for Cameron Rutledge.
Did notice that the same thing was happening down Conrod on lap 1, so maybe Cam Rutledge is carrying a bit more downforce, and so RSM Latino has the advantage on the 2 huge straights, it must be said, on this racetrack. Cam Rutledge, in theory, in that respect, should have the advantage across the top of the hill, but that's much easier said than actually accomplished. Steve Burko absolutely is buying into this. He's under 0.5 of a second.
Oh, look at him, he's pushing hard.
Right behind Cam Rutledge, so that's going to be a tasty little battle.
I think that's RSM Latino's saviour right now, is Stephen Burko is actually causing Cam Rutledge to look in his mirrors more than he's looking ahead. Look how much he hangs onto the tail of Cam Rutledge across the top of the mountain there. Very, very balls to the wall sorts of stuff here. Fantastic.
We've had Glenn Miles into the pits. Not sure if that was for damage or
it's
what.
Early. we're not in the pit window yet. 12, 13 laps they can make it, so they haven't got to the point where they can pit and go to the end yet.
So it must be for damage or potentially just an error in fuel judgment prior to the race. Stenny has gotten a little bit wide through Skyline. Luckily, he's got about 10 seconds back to SS behind him, so it won't cost him anything. Although he was chasing down a claim bite, so that'll hurt his aspirations for that particular 6th place, of which there is only one.
Well, the one thing I will say about those fuel numbers actually is that they are based on the fastest guys. So Glenn Miles, who's currently down in 10th place, his fuel numbers might be a little bit less than those of the guys up above, as we were reacting to our other monitor on board with Steve Burko. He was having all sorts of trouble coming out of the chase there.
Absolutely, the TV shot there on the broadcast unconveniently just cropped him out of view very slightly, as he was just had a bit of a swapper on, but managed to wriggle it back into a straight line, and that has resulted in Cam Rutledge spreading out, extending his lead to about 1.3 seconds. So, RSM Latino is just bolted ahead 2.5 seconds already, and the gap was under a second this time last lap.
You're now looking at Australia's loneliest man, Wayne Carr, 7 seconds away from Termo in 2nd place.
Now this is interesting because we've got
Latino behind him.
Do apologise for coming across.
No, it's all right. I took an age to finish my point.
We've got Apex catching up on Glenn Miles, who is in fact a lap ahead of him because of Apex's issues getting out of the wall on the first lap. And so Glenn Miles, who is a lap ahead, won't have to get out of the way of Apex, although it might be wise considering Apex appears to have a bit more pace. But I could imagine, as Glenn Miles might get out of the way accidentally through the chase, does not do so as they head on down towards Murray's. Apex is gaining on him at a rate of knots.
Well, Glenn Miles has just drawn a great big 11 down the entry to the chase there with his front tyres. He's locking up everywhere. Those are flat spots. That's what those are. And he's had a bit of an issue out of Murray's there. So Glenn Miles relinquishes that position. And what is it you're reacting to?
Sorry, I was reacting to Apex's. I'm not sure if they're teammates or if they just happen to have very plain cars, but SS was having an almighty wiggle across the top of the mountain, and it made my penis retract into my body somewhat.
Tomo finishes the 7th lap of the race. His fastest, a 2:08.8, and that is now being surpassed by 2:08.5, as we've got Wayne Carr's actually just clouded the wall on the exit of the final corner. We'll try and find a replay of that for you.
Won't be helping him trying to chase down first place man Termo. Now 12 seconds. So he's just outbroke himself into Murray's and little lock up, and that's all it takes to go deep and straight into that wall.
Yeah, that could be bent steering. That's not going to be good across the top of the mountain. Let's see how he fares as he heads up to the top of the mountain, head towards Griffin's Bend, coming up Mountain Straight here. And Wayne Carr with a little bit of damage now. He lost about 3 or 4 seconds with that little exchange of the wall. Stenny now having some moments. They're all having this moment at the same part of the racetrack. There's Dodger moving on. I was going to say locking up, but he actually had he actually got it stopped quite nicely, incidentally. So a lot of guys just struggling a little bit with the tyres starting to go off a bit.
Yeah, they've all sort of spread out a little bit. No one's within sort of 3 seconds of each other. Or I'll lie, there are a few cars within 3 seconds of each other. No one is sort of within touching distance of each other. So kind of in a little holding phase of this. I was going to say Grand Prix, this motor race. Holding Grand Prix around Bathurst would be an interesting prospect.
Suicidal?
Yeah, that's probably a good word for it.
I like it.
Wayne Carr's oversteered a little bit coming out of Forest Elbow, and that's not going to help him.
Didn't look too bad across the top, though.
Not too bad, but he's still dropped about a second this lap to Termo.
Yeah, but I mean, Termo's set a purple sector in the middle sector, so he is absolutely untouchable right now. Probably better to compare him to those behind who he's actually gained a little bit of time on with bent steering. So well done there to Wayne Carr. And reacting to SS again, so he is the man to watch.
Nearly got up onto, or did get up onto, it was nearly flipped it over from hits 2 wheels onto 0 wheels and a roof, but managed to avoid doing such
He
things.
is just following orders, but Wayne Carr coming across the line to complete the 8th lap of this race. And you mentioned he did lose a second to Termo on through the middle sector. It turned out to be about a second and a half across the entire lap itself.
Yes, indeed.
Someone ringing you?
No, sorry. I've gotten a text message.
A text message.
Oh, never mind. We've had Automobilista Supercars Championship has commented on our post.
Oh, thanks.
So thank you very much, Kurt. I believe that would probably be.
It might be Colin Warwick, who is one of the other server admins.
He has said, and I quote, "Legends, heart emoji."
Well, we appreciate your support, and we're really just waiting for the pit stop phase to kick off. We did see Glenn Miles come into the pits, but that, of course, was an unscheduled pit stop. We assumed to fix some damage. SS now recovering from what looks like a spin at the final corner, and he's been living dangerously, hasn't he?
He absolutely has. Living dangerously is probably as we see him lose it coming out of Murray's.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it stopped him before the wall.
I think he didn't give up on that early enough because he sort of let it roll into the wall. You know, at this point here, his tyres are not locked up.
Oh no, Wayne Carr. Wayne Carr is something, while we've been admiring SS losing it out of Murray's, Wayne Carr has dropped to third. He has lost his bonnet.
Oh, and he's got huge damage there.
Huge damage.
Spinning at the elbow, reversing out of the racing line. Very considerate. I think he's going to retire from this race. Look at him in frustration, getting the thing righted.
I'm not sure what happened there, what the original accident was. See if we can find a replay of that, because I just cut to him as he was sideways across the track.
Here it is.
Skyline.
Coming down into the dipper. And yeah, very easy to do that. The car just sort of gets unsettled, and yeah, I think that was just frustration. He did very well to get it off the racing line and cause no undue harm to any of the other competitors. But it's very bad for his championship battle there with RSM Latino, who's gone up into second place as a result of that mistake from Wayne Carr, who understandably is coming straight into the pits.
Absolutely. So that is a damn shame. That has promoted Steve Burko into third, Cam Rutledge into third. Steve Burko into fourth, Cam Rutledge into third, and RSM Latino into second. I think he was just pushing too hard, trying to catch Termo, and it was like, no offense to Wayne Carr, I don't think it was ever going to happen, because Termo is proving that he is class of the field today.
Wayne Carr stopped in his pit box there now.
Yep.
I mean, this might not be the best session of the year, but it is certainly something that these guys, for them, it's their grand final, and poor old Wayne Carr got it right out sideways in really what was a risk versus reward situation.
I see that my co-commentator has, in addition to organising a spotter's guide and the championship standings for the Super 2s, he has pulled up the all-important Scafie's Bathurst Bingo, and is currently going through and checking them all off by himself. So a little round of applause there for my co-commentator.
Speaking of by himself, Termo now leads by 20 seconds.
Jesus wept. Yeah, wow. So that is...
It certainly did weep.
That is huge, as Thomas McMillan has said. And Thomas McMillan has also said just the letter F, which I believe would be respects there for Wayne Carr, who has come out down in seventh.
One of the best since we've seen from Termo.
Only... what was the pit window against Ayres?
Well, they should be open now. You'll be able to make it to the end from here.
So the only saving grace for Wayne Carr is that he has gotten his pit stop out of the way, and he can now go straight to the end from here. So
oh no!
There is a possibility
Glenn
that
Miles.
as Termo just goes past someone who was going very slowly there.
Glenn Miles.
Color me surprised.
Adds his name to quite a few who've coloured their cars in on the inside of the final corner.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my goodness, I heard that one even through the headphones.
That means the crowd did too. Sorry.
As I was saying, Wayne Carr can now go health leather till the end of the Grand Prix, and the end of the race.
But how is his car handling though? Let's have a look at his sector times.
He seems to be alright. I'm not seeing too much crabbing or anything. They obviously didn't replace the bonnet, so that wouldn't be helping his aerodynamics. Not that Automobilista worries about that. So I'm not sure why I brought it up, but he did rub the wall a couple of places across the top of the mountain.
36 in the middle sector. That's comparable to what the other guys are doing.
Yeah, so he's not. So they obviously will manage to repair most of the damage. So he can now just knuckle down and set some laps. As we've got Stenny pitting ahead of him, so that's at least one position that he'll make up. We've had a few people in the chat. I love the Scafey quote, says Kurt Stenberg. I imagine Stairs would be happy to hear that. Assetto Corsa.
Oh, who's that going off? Wayne Carr at the final corner.
Not again.
It's fair to say, I'm sure he's carrying still some damage.
Absolutely.
Although he was pretty quick across the top of the mountain.
But he's gained a position on Stenny, who's obviously in the pits. Acclaim by is 25 seconds ahead of him, so he'll probably gain that position.
Stenny's on the move.
Stenny is on the move. That is what a car. That is what a car indeed.
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Assetto Corsa Aussie Down Under Series, bring it home, Termo, indeed. Thompson Millen, I should come into the comms box. I disagree. Termo, it looks like, is coming into the pits. He's making his pit stop, and good time for it as he's about to catch up to Apex, who is a lap down.
Here he comes. So race leader into the pits. This is a crucial moment in his race, but he has almost, I say almost, they have to get it down to 40 kilometres an hour, so it is a slower pit transit time to what you might see in something like Formula 1. But
he's currently doing 60, so I hope that...
40 in real life, mate.
40 in real life.
They may have upped it for this. As it is Automobilista, and the pit lane has no one in sight to run over.
RSM Latino is going to take the lead of this race. He's just past Termo in the pits, so he will lead this race for a brief period.
But look at that. RSM Latino is just coming out of the first corner now, and Termo is just about to turn the pit limiter off and get back up to racing speeds. And he's only lost 2 positions on track.
Absolutely. He is, to the lead? He is about 7 and a bit seconds.
Yep, 7.3 on my screen. So that's a handy margin. Once those guys pit, he will be able to coast till the end. 9 laps to go.
Kurt Stenberg just asked if we're aware that he is one of the admins of the Scafey page that Stairs is quoting. I personally wasn't aware of that.
Well, it was posted on Reddit, so that's where I got this from. So go and reclaim some of your Reddit points.
Yeah, you should be reaping the up boats as it was, and as it were, and as it shall be.
You have to start the Reddit post early.
You do.
That was a bad conversion. Moving on.
Much like Imperial to Metric.
So Termo, 3rd place, and he's actually right behind the car in 2nd place that hasn't pitted yet, and that's Cam Rutledge.
See, this could be a bit dangerous for Termo. These guys ahead of him, obviously, it is still battling for position. Oh, and Cam Rutledge locking up a little bit.
A few more cars in the pits, SS and Dodger, as we go back to this. This doesn't need to be a fight from Termo's point of view. I think Cam Rutledge might even just pull over and let Termo go through here. But if he doesn't, I wouldn't force the issue if I was Termo.
No, I wouldn't either. But it just coming up upon a car that's got older tyres and just in general isn't quite as fast as you is a very dangerous prospect. And Termo's made that. No, he hasn't. Straight off at the chase.
I think he was trying to give Cam Rutledge way too much space there. And overly cautious, I think. Bit of activity now in the pit lane.
Cam Rutledge into the pits, so that won't happen next lap. RSM Latino also in the pits.
Jack Daniels. Dodger just exiting the pits, and so too is Glenn Miles and Cam Rutledge coming in. And is that RSM Latino coming in? Yes, as well. So Termo now reclaims the lead of the race with 5 cars having just pit.
I think it's very safe to say that Jack Daniels has had a huge influence on Dodger's career.
So Glenn Miles is now on the move. Cam Rutledge just about to come off the jacks, I should think. And Stephen Burko coming down the pit straight.
Sorry, just come off the jacks. I thought you were still talking about Jack.
Oh, beg your pardon. I mean the things that elevate cars.
I obviously should have come off the jacks some time ago.
Yeah, so basically normal service resumed, isn't it?
It is 12 laps. We are into this motor race. Termo coming up to lap Dodger as they're coming through Skyline. And Dodger gets out of the way.
Good job there from Dodger.
Excellent work.
So Wayne Carr, with all his shenanigans, now that the pit stops have finished, we can get a clearer sense of how damaging his accident was, and effectively has dropped him to 5th place.
It has, although he is only fourth places.
Sorry.
He is 4 places behind first place. That is correct. He is 4 seconds, behind Cam Rutledge. I do appreciate the fart, Stairs, and by appreciate, I mean don't appreciate. That one was my phone. That wasn't your fart, so I can't blame that one on you. The Shauno 619. This commentary is second to none. LOL.
Thanks for watching, Shauno.
Greatly appreciate the feedback, mate. And Kurt Stenberg saying, best operators in the business. Thank you very much, boss man. Thomas McMillan. Fun fact, David Reynolds follows our page.
What?
When you say our page, you mean the Scafey Bingo page or the Automobilista Supercars page?
Oh, get us onto us.
Because,
In fact, he could do a guest commentary.
I was about to say, get him in here. Never mind Thomas McMillan. let's get David Reynolds in to commentate Automobilista Supercars Championship.
Love the mad bants. I just want to bring your attention to something that's not really important, but nonetheless, I'm going to say it anyway. Cam Rutledge lost 38 seconds to Wayne Carr on the previous lap, but the reason why that happened was because Cam Rutledge exited the pits on the previous lap.
Ah, fantastic. So there was now only 2 seconds separating them, if that.
He did actually take a second out across the top of the mountain. So Wayne Carr is catching Cam Rutledge at an almighty rate of knots.
The page that we've been hearing so much about is called "A Scafey Quote a Day Keeps the Doctor Away," and that is the page that David Reynolds in fact follows. So
Wayne Carr's just gone off at the final corner. Not as much as we have seen some do, but it will have arrested.
No, definitely not. He kept it out of the
forward
wall.
Progress a little bit.
Absolutely. Still only 2 seconds to Cam Rutledge ahead, who obviously is the next opportunity up the road. Just a little mention that Steve Burko seems to have jumped Cam Rutledge during the pit stops because he is up into 3rd place now, whereas he was previously following Cam Rutledge. And speaking of following, make sure you hop on Facebook and follow the Apex Rear Wing page for all of our content and streams and all that sort of good stuff. Steve Burko had a moment.
It was a smooth promotion. That was smoother than those $200 bottles of whiskey that you unfortunately introduced me to, and now I know about excellent stuff that I can't afford. Stephen Burko. Oh, it's great. Excellent. Stephen Burko, someone up ahead of him.
Dodger, I believe.
Yeah, I was smoking away. Like Fidel Castro. Gracious me, he's got some damage. Every time he smashed, I think it's Glenn Miles.
No, that is Glenn Miles actually, I believe. Shut my mouth and call me Turkey, because I
Turkey.
Yeah.
Well, Glenn Miles is in the wall, and he's now allowed Steve Burko through, which Steve Burko will be unendingly pleased about.
For the benefit of the people not watching the commentary cam, Stairs just shoved my lower jaw shut and said turkey quite softly into my ear.
Fastest lap for Termo, 2:08.
I call an intimate way. Yes, very good lap there for Termo. Absolutely.
He's on rails. Like every time we've seen him, he doesn't even look like making a mistake.
He doesn't. Thomas McMillan asking if we guys, can you guys interview Dodger?
If you get him in the server, we'll ask him the questions.
If he hops in at post race, we'll make sure to have a little chit chat to him. Ask him, why he continues.
Oh, SS in the wall!
Oh my goodness! At very similar point to
and
where
Glenn Miles
Apex
too, recovering from what appears to be some sort of issue. But Cam Rutledge now, we won't have time to show you the SS thing, but if you want to see it, just replay one of the other ones from earlier in the broadcast. Cam Rutledge is now coming under some pressure from Wayne Carr, who's been catching him at an almighty rate of knots, despite having a damaged car. You can see that bonnet missing from an earlier incident. He was running in second, and look at the slipstream. We wondered before if Cam Rutledge has got a little bit more slipstream downforce, I should say. Just doesn't seem to have the straight line speed that Wayne Carr has.
I believe you're currently quoting my observation from earlier in the race,
I am.
so I appreciate your plagiarism there.
No, I said that we
are
a team.
Oh, okay. Well, we're a team except for when you steal my lines.
I didn't claim it was mine.
Regardless, Wayne Carr all over the back of Cam Rutledge. He's gonna maybe once he catches up to the back of him, he'll come on to back. That's a little, I'm stealing your lines now.
Oh, you can steal that one.
We have.
That's from Family Guy anyway.
We've got someone asking, is Wayne Carr for real? And Kurt Stenberg confirming that Carr is indeed his surname, but Wayne is not. So the
not his first name.
The little correct. So the little play on words that Wayne Carr is not actually his name.
Is it Chris Carr, the server host?
Potentially. That name does sound familiar.
Do tell us.
Yeah, do tell us. Thompson Millen asking for a Dodger on board. I'm sure we could furnish that. We've got 6 laps to fill.
Well, I mean, although Cam Rutledge has pulled a bit of a gap out on Wayne Carr just right now, we will jump on board with Dodger and cut back to the Cam Rutledge Wayne Carr battle if anything should eventuate. So here is Dodger coming up to the first corner. This is Hell Corner, and he gets it nicely in there into the cambered section of the racetrack. A little bit of curb on the inside, and then up through the gears towards Griffin's Bend. The car straining with every gear change as he goes up towards the top of the mountain. Gum trees going by left and right as they do when you travel. Obviously, you've got to get off the racing line a little bit before you reposition it back on the racing line into Griffin's Bend, and then goes dimensionally wide. And there's a good reason for that. It puts marbles on the tyres and makes the next part real fun as you go up towards the cutting. One line through here, and he does quite a good job of threading the needle through, although he's a little bit narrow on the exit there. Gets up on the curb and unsettles the car on the right-hand side, and this part is all about balancing the car with the throttle. It's all about weight transfer, and he's threading it through. I haven't actually got the sound of him in my ears, so it's a little bit difficult to tell whether he's flat or not, and this is where you see a lot of people going off in real life, but I think Dodger giving that part of the racetrack there at Skyline the respect that it very much deserves. And then down into the S's, have to say, exceptionally clean lap from Dodger here. He's probably being a little bit careful. We've still got about a quarter of this race left to go. I'm sure the fans at home were probably hoping for something a bit more.
The spice is beginning to occur in the Cam Rutledge and Wayne Carr battle. He is right on the back of him.
I've got it.
You've got a weather eye on it. Fantastic.
We're just coming down Conrod, so we've nearly finished this thing. That is the gap between Cam Rutledge and Wayne Carr. Now let's rejoin. Let's rejoin Dodger for the chase. A little bit of curb on the inside. That'll unsettle the car a bit, and it's going to make it a little bit hard to get it down back through the gears. But he does it nicely. Probably takes a little bit of too much curb. Let's rejoin Wayne Carr backing out ahead of the chase. That smoke screen there is from Dodger, who's now coming up to the final corner. And I have to say, I'm actually quite impressed with Dodger's lap there. He's done quite a good job. But now Wayne Carr is right up underneath the rear wing. Gives Cam Rutledge a little bit of a nudge there to let him know he's there, which I'm sure Cam Rutledge wouldn't have appreciated. And in the end, Cam Rutledge stays ahead for the time being. But for how much longer, Madbird?
Absolutely. They have been... the pressure has got to be... The pressure has got to be building on Cam Rutledge with an operator like Wayne Carr right behind him, and he's within half a second, and he's slowly reeling him in, heading up towards Smooth Operator as they head up towards Griffith's Bend. We've got Kurt Stenberg confirming that it is indeed Chris Carr, is Wayne Carr.
Shout out to Wayne doing a good job. Always does a great job with these servers.
He does. Always does a fantastic job. And he's usually one of the ones in the chat having a chat to us. So.
Name a more iconic duo.
SS and Apex, who are on different laps, indeed. And Apex has quickly exited that particular battle. Though SS is doing his level best to stay in touch with his mates.
Moving on.
My goodness. Wayne Carr has not managed to get past Cam Rutledge as yet. although it is getting frighteningly close, heading up towards the Skyline and the Dipper. Perfect line. I'm learning so much this weekend from Shauno 619. Do apologise, not your brother 618, who I believe you were talking about Dodger, which honestly that was probably not a terrible line to learn from. As Cam Rutledge locks up a tiny bit going through Forest,
Wayne Carr gets it all up on the marbles on the exit at Forest Elbow and throws away an absolute chunk of time.
He does. He was very lucky that the back of his car clipped the wall, stopping him from completely rotating it. He managed to keep it almost in a straight line, and he's only lost 2.5 seconds when it could have probably been a lot more. But he does only have 4 laps.
Wayne Carr's hit the wall big time down at the chase. The car just snapped right to the right on him, and he's going to be buried in that gravel trap. It's going to be hard to get out of that one. Let's get to replay. How did that happen?
Yeah, it looks like good entry to the chase. Looks like he's just oversteered as he's come off that little hump, heading through the fast right-hander, fastest corner in Australian motorsport, 300 kilometres an hour. This is our grand final. The car's gotten a light underneath him, and then it's just oversteered. He must have had too much steering angle, and he's straight into the pits to repair damage for the second time this race. And looks like he's done. He
didn't put the pit lane speed limiter on, and in frustration he crashes out. That is a damn shame. He was doing well, and he was creating a fair bit of entertainment for us, I should say. So that's all she wrote for Wayne Carr's Super 2 race.
Gotta say, first DNF of the race is on lap 16. I was that is much slower attrition rate than I was expecting. The Sean 619, they're all in the fence. That was massive. Absolutely correct.
That was massive.
And Assetto Corsa Aussie Down Under series saying SS is quick on RF2. This is an RF2.
Well, similar engine.
But he just appears to be struggling a little bit as he's coming up. Looks like, is he being lapped? Or he has lapped someone. Dodger has got someone behind him who is in the process of attempting to lap him, which is easier said than done. It appears to be Cam Rutledge in 4th place. And Dodger gets well out of the way through Forest Elbow, nearly bounces back onto the racing line, but avoids it. So, excellent stuff from all involved.
I was just having an aneurysm trying to keep up with what you were talking about.
Sorry. Do you want me to flick around even more?
Please don't.
Just between completely opposite ends of the race.
No, I was all set up because I want to talk about Turmo, who now leads by 32 seconds with 2 laps to go. He's well on his way to what would be his first victory on his way to leading the championship for Super 2. So if ever there was one to lead, we've got another car off. That's a claim bite.
Coming out of Forest.
Yeah, the Mountain Acclaim bites another driver. And that is coming out of Forest Elbow. No,
Thomas McMillan. Me and Kurt won the R Factor 2 Bathurst 1000 by nearly a lap, and the Shauno 619 immediately retorting with brag about it. Which
do.
I believe he just was.
I mean, I would if I
mentioned it.
If I won a 1,000 kilometre race, even if there was no one else in it, I would brag about it.
If I managed to last 1,000 kilometres without crashing the car, I would be quite impressed with myself, to be 100% honest with you. 800 kilometres is a number to keep in your mind for something that is happening in the future.
Yeah.
I'll say nothing else about it.
RSM Latino now in 2nd place is going to get a handy chunk of points. Remember we talked, Madbird, about his little battle with Wayne Carr earlier on. They were both tied on 1,026 points apiece coming into this round. Well, they are not going to be tied on 1,026 points apiece at the end of tonight, assuming RSM Latino gets it to the end of the race and collects the points for 2nd place, where he currently sits.
Absolutely, and he's sort of just kept his head down and gotten about it, as with Cam Rutledge. Both of them have been basically in the same positions they're in at the moment. What happened to Steve Burko, actually? Now that I think about it, Steve Burko, Stenny, is another red car who's currently stopped. But Steve Burko...
What?
Sorry, I was looking for Steve Burko because I know he's a red car, but I found Stenny, who's also stuck in the dirt.
Well, let's do our best to find out what happened.
Try to unravel this.
He's been in the gravel for quite some time.
Appears so.
We'll come back to that one.
Looks like he's just.
I think
he's
he might
pulled
have
off.
blown his engine up.
Yeah, it looks there's a lot of smoke. Well, that's that particular mystery solved. Not sure what happened to Burko. Must have been a few laps ago, so we probably won't bother trying to find a replay of it.
Yeah,
but
he's lost a chunk of time somewhere, but 5 seconds adrift of Cam Rutledge in third place now is Stephen Burko, and Stenny, as we expected, has disappeared from our timing screens as he's retired from the race.
Damn. So 2 retirements in the last 5 laps. It's like the safety cars in the real Bathurst 1000, all of them coming at the end.
It's a bit like that. Dodger's going to find a position up into 8th place when he passes where Stenny got up to. Here he is.
Speaking of,
Actually,
Kurt Stenberg just mentioning to us, engine failed, down change.
That'll do it.
Did he come into your room and tell you that, or what's the go? How'd you find that information out?
We eagerly await the answer.
In 10 seconds.
He hasn't been getting advice from Brenton Hobson, has he?
Speaking of Brenton's, Brenton369 in the chat. Great racing and commentary, guys. Thank you very much, Brenton. I believe Foley would be 369.
That is Foley, I believe.
Kurt Stenberg asking, why the brag, Thomas? Because you finished a race? Because of me? So there's a little bit of shade being thrown in the chat. Thomas McMillan laughing and saying, I carried you, mate. Mr. Walshy asking, does the winner progress to the main race? I believe that there's the opportunity for a few people to hop into the main race.
Yeah, options are. In fact, it's been thrown open to the public. So anyone watching who wants to join in the Automobilista Supercars Bathurst 1000 on the weekend, get in contact with the Facebook page, and they'll give you all the information that you need and to get signed up. Because the more the merrier, in my opinion.
We've got our answer. Kurt went and asked Stenny what happened, and that is how we got our answer.
Leaders on the final lap now. This is Termo coming out of the final, the first corner on his final lap.
For the final time, yeah.
And he has, look at this. This is where the second place man is coming through the chase right now.
Jesus.
That's the lead that he has over RSM Latino.
Better part of 35 seconds.
It's a big old margin. Stephen Burko, incidentally, 2 laps ago in the middle sector, lost an absolute chunk of time, 46 through there, which is about 10 seconds slower. And it appears to be where he would have lost all that time. And unfortunately, it looks like it's cost him a podium.
Absolutely. Currently sitting in first is Termo, as we said, and Cam Rutledge in third. Getting word from Kurt Stenberg that Termo and Cam Rutledge are going to be teaming up potentially for the main Bathurst event on Sunday.
Excellent.
So excellent.
Best of luck to them.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a very different event to this one, whereas this is a 20-lap sprint. 161 laps is a new challenge entirely.
It absolutely is. And my goodness, let's cross fingers the server can take it.
Cross fingers my broadcast setup can take it. We've got 4 of us on board for this one, so we've got as many minds as we can throw at it, and we're very much looking forward to that.
Almost as many mouths as we have screens.
Almost being the operative word there.
Almost, yeah. If we had too many more mouths, then we wouldn't be able to hear ourselves think, I imagine. It'd be patently ridiculous.
It would be patently ridiculous. Yes.
Termo approaching the chase for the last time on the final lap. It has been a dominant performance, Des. I believe would be not too strong a word to use. He has absolutely smashed this race. Hasn't put a foot wrong the entire time, except for one little moment that we saw into the chase when he was overtaking Cam Rutledge. And he's slowing down into Murray's corner. He's flashing the lights. He's crossing the line. He is winning the Super2 Bathurst 125 stairs.
Terrific performance all round from Termo. First win in the Super2 category for him, and claims the lead of the Super2 Championship ahead of Instinct. What an absolutely flawless drive from Termo. I didn't see him make a single mistake tonight, and rightly he is going to celebrate with a few donuts.
Still got a bit of time before RSM Latino crosses the line, so we've got Mr. Walshy asking, Dodger and Glenn racing together for the main Bathurst as well? We can only hope. That'd be incredible. Get in there, boys. Or you got to be in it to win it. As RSM Latino crosses the line to come second, he did not win it, but he is on the second step of the podium.
And Cam Rutledge with a 7-second advantage over Burko is about to...
They're a tad spread out, aren't they, Stairs?
They are. It's good. It gives me time to get on it, essentially, and so we can see all of these guys as they come to the finish line to complete the race. Here is Cam Rutledge coming across the line, and behind him is Stephen Burko. There he is, flashing the lights as he comes
Fourth
across
place, solid.
to finish fourth. Good points there. The next guy is a claim bite who's got the length of Conrod straight to come. We've also got Apex or SS. Couldn't quite tell from that angle. Coming across the line, and Dodger, these are the guys who are a lap down. Glenn Miles and Apex is 2 laps down. Just the 2 retirements there with Stenny and Wayne Carr. There is Glenn Miles, by the way, coming across the line now.
Appreciate
and we're
it.
about to see a claim bite pop up over the crest. There he is, coming out of the chase into the final corner, and a claim bite, the final man across the line.
Speaking of acclaim, the chat is currently full of acclaim for the winner Termo, and it is richly deserved. A minute and 4 seconds he finished ahead of Cam Rutledge, who was third on the podium, which is kind of ridiculous. Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic indeed. Well, don't actually think our Super 2 runners have been told if they're going to come in for an interview. So we'll just pad for a bit to see if they do come in here to give us a bit of a chat.
Just a little answer to one of our queries early on in the race. Apex has just hopped in the chat and said, yeah, Apex here. Reverse was jolting and then power was cut. So he had to go to neutral and then reverse repeatedly to get away from the wall. So that'll be why it took so long. That's an awkward situation to be in. And especially when you're sort of at right angles facing directly into the wall with a hill to reverse up. Not ideal, Stairs.
Yeah, that's a bit strange. That's a bit strange indeed. Well, there was a fair bit of action, and it's great to see these Super 2 guys, and I'm sure that and they'll watch that race back and get excited for the big one, because I think especially the guys at the top of the field there, even the ones who didn't do so well today, may put in a few hours of practice for the big one if they decide to team up there. Cam Rutledge ended up 64 seconds behind Termo. You said he's teaming up for the big one on the weekend?
Yeah, Cam Rutledge and Termo teaming up potentially for the weekend, so that'll be excellent to see them hop in there, test their chops against the big boys, as it was. I don't know why everything I say has a bit of a big voice on it, but I guess that's how we do. Apex saying he had pace for 6th. Unlucky, he'll be out next time, and hopefully he won't need reverse. That's something we all hope for when we set out onto the racetrack.
Absolutely. Well, now with the Super 2 race behind us, we focus on the weekend. We've actually got some of the admins in the chat with us here, and Kurt Stenberg has been watching along. We've made mention of his comments in the live chat throughout. And what do you make of the action of the Super 2 race there, Kurt? So, anything you take out of tonight to potentially bring into the weekend in terms of the server ran quite smoothly. Obviously, the server issues we had earlier in the year seem to have been fixed. So it's a good dress rehearsal for the weekend. Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Anything more you wanted to add ahead of the weekend? Perfect. So, the more the merrier, and we certainly hope that we can fill all the grid spots there. Thank you very much indeed, Kurt. We've also been joined by Cam Rutledge, who was one of the podium sitters tonight, finishing third and second podium in Super 2 this year. Congratulations, Cam. It was an interesting race from your perspective. Quite a few people spinning. You came up under a bit of pressure there from Wayne Carr, but you kept your head down, and he ended up making the mistake and not you. Oh, no. Well, it's funny, those mistakes can be costly, but can sometimes come back to you in ways that you don't expect on the mountain. Well, congratulations there to Cam Rutledge. We've also been joined by a couple of other drivers. We did say that if Dodger was to come in, we would try and have a chat with him, and I believe he's in here. Dodger, are you there? Very, very good. We're watching you for a bit during the race today, and we saw you earlier on in the year in Tasmania as well. Caught an onboard lap. Seems like your driving has improved since then. A bit of practice. He's being interviewed. All right. Please do continue. Let's. It was a decent result. Quite a few people spinning out, so you collected some good points.
Good stuff. We had a couple of requests to do an onboard lap, and I think they were hoping for a bit more dramatic than it was, but it seemed quite considered and clean, so we were quite impressed, to be honest.
All right. Very good. Also got RSM Latino in here as second place today, and you were tied on points actually, RSM, if you can hear me, with Wayne Carr at the beginning of the night. So it looks like tonight's been a good tiebreaker in your favour.
Looks as if he's got his microphone muted. That is a shame. Definitely hope he's not trying to speak currently.
All right.
I think he's got it.
Hello, RSM. Can you hear us? Oh, can you hear me now?
I guess that's a no.
I guess not. We could type the question. Or you could listen. Never mind. We might just cut it off there. Well, thanks for trying to speak to us, RSM. But evidently technical issues getting in the way today. We might leave it there, Madbird, and you won't be back on Saturday, but Bagsy will, and then you'll be here for the big race on Sunday.
Absolutely. I'm digging up my mum's backyard on Saturday.
Oh, who are you burying?
It's not a euphemism, although it definitely sounds like it. It
didn't sound like a euphemism until you said that.
Oh, well, that was kind of my aim. But yes, I'll be here on Sunday with yourself, Joshua Bagsy, and Flood/Michael. And I'm very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a cracking 6 hours. Definitely probably the longest broadcast we've ever done. Well, apart from perhaps when we did the 6 hours of Spa, but that wasn't really a broadcast.
That wasn't really.
That was just streaming.
No.
I would like to say, anyone that's listening, as Kurt said, anyone that's listening and isn't signed up, and you think, I might want to have a crack, find a mate and message the Automobilista Supercars Championship page. Get in there, and if you don't want to, then make sure you hop in and watch the stream, have a chat to us, because having people to bounce off of throughout the race is definitely makes our jobs a little bit easier and always a little bit entertaining. Having a bit of banter in the chat. So that goes for co-drivers as well. When you're not currently in the car, hop in and have a chat. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Well, if you want to jot down those times, watching the race on the weekend, of course, the action kicks off from 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time on Saturday. That's the qualifying day, and then the race broadcast starts at 1:50 p.m., 20 minutes ahead of race start on Sunday afternoon. We cannot wait. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
See you later.
All right, done. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, no, that's good.
No, it was very entertaining, and all the people in the chat definitely helped.
Everyone was watching.
It's nice of McMillan to take credit for that win in R Factor, Kurt. You must be thrilled about that. You needed to give him advice on how to not crash into a wall. Oh, fuck.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
All right, well, yeah.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I was laughing most of it. It was fantastic.
We try to be a bit casual, but also try and be informative at the same time. Yeah, which one? I think we saw a couple at the top. Oh, sorry.
Oh my God.
I've been holding on to that for a while. Sorry, Osiris, which one are you? Steve Burke. Ah, yes. Yeah, so that was that's the one we didn't see.
That was the one we
wondered
missed.
Where you'd lost the time, and we looked in and saw your middle sector split was a bit was 10 seconds slower than your usual ones. Yeah, decent result. Podium speed.
Oh, speaking of the man that won Kurt and Thomas McMillan the Bathurst 1000, he's just entered.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Love your work.
The three-peat. Going for the three-peat.
You're racing with Maloney, aren't you?
Hopefully his pedals are fixed.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah?
He's trying to figure out a way to still gain points on you in the championship despite being in the same car.
Right. Cheers, mate.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
racing.
We'll head off. See you guys. Enjoy. Catch
See
you
you
on the
guys.
weekend. I think he was saying goodbye, but I just shoehorned off of that to say goodbye.
Yeah, you did.
I had enough of this. Those interviews kill me because the guys are just like, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's good.
But why was it good? Elaborate.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
That interview with Dodger, I was like, oh shit! I said if he comes in, we'll interview him. So I'm gonna be a man of my word. But I don't think he saw that we were laughing at him.
Because he knew we were laughing at him earlier in the season.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
fair.
sure. Oh. Which sounds harsh, but you know, like,
I'm sure, like
he's got to be in on the joke a little bit.
he's 40 years old. He probably doesn't care about
What
two 30-year-olds think.
30-year-olds think about his pretend racing skill.
That, from a technical point of view, is pretty smooth though.
I thought, yeah, and I thought, well, I mean, I think that had good energy to it. I think that went really well. Now we just need to do it again, but with 2 extra people, and for 6 hours.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, from our point of view, Jesus Christ, we want to give you a handy.
No. All good. I've already done it. Give me a handy.
Yeah, like,
from our point of
since
view.
we're starting and ending it, like, those things will be the same. It's like, the changeovers I don't anticipate being that hard.
No.
It's maybe keeping track of time and stuff like that. But, yeah, what was I going to say? If you've got your iPad or something,
Yeah, I can bring that.
bring that in for, like, live timing.
Yeah, sure thing.
I'll
make sure it's charged. I noticed you've got your...
Yeah, I want to see how we go. I want to have like a panel setup thing here, so we can have the Larco type.
I was about to say, the ideal would be you have a camera set up and then you can fling to Bagsy who does the Larco shit on it.
Yeah, I don't know how.
That'd be a little bit.
I think we're going to do some stuff like that, but have it pre-recorded just
Yeah.
at the start. Because what I want to do from the shootout is just grab 2 laps and do like a side-by-side with Bagsy sort of doing a skypad type thing, saying this is where, assuming it's close enough for that to be actually interesting.
Yeah. If it's 4 seconds between them, probably less so.
So here's where he lost out. It's fun.
If someone spins and it's still seconds.
Yeah. But I'm sure it'll be interesting enough. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna be trying to focus on that for the rest of the weekend.
Let me know if there's anything you need done that doesn't involve a computer. Because I'm at mum's at the moment. Any writing shit I can do.
Yeah. Well, we don't need a highlights of that tonight.
No.
And I'm just gonna rerun the highlights thing.
Yeah, because that was the main.
Yeah.
Because that was the main championship one.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if it would be nice to have another computer for people who aren't on commentary.
To keep an eye on things.
To keep an eye on, even if it's just like another one for live timing.
Yeah.
So they can like be sitting here and keep an eye on it. Because I mean the thing is like if they want to watch the race, like what's actually happening on the track, they can see the screens that we've got access to. But the live timing for like any extra stuff. Yeah. That's the thing. As soon as you keep adding more people with the automated lister, it's another slot.
Yeah.
It's another spectator.
It's another strain on the server.
So yeah. Once they get the liveries in, I'll try and do like an A2 sized spotter guide and have that somewhere prominent.
Cool. Can you print A2 easy enough?
Yeah, that's like you just go to Officeworks. It's like $1.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or $2.
Oh, yeah. That's what.
What do you mean?
That's what. Because I think the photocopies will work to A2.
Oh, okay.
So can always do that if needs be.
Yeah, why would you buy a colour printer when you can just go to Officeworks?
Yeah.
$1.
I know. That's Mel. I have to print all of Mel's like fabric patterns and stuff in A0.
Yeah. All right.
Good stuff. Oh, Zeus has got colonoscopy tomorrow.
Rip.
Just messaged me, colonoscopy prep toilet night, bud. Down that soap like a champ. That'd be why he was saying to Fruity that he had to starve today or whatever.
Rip.
Like, I know exactly what roadie that noise is that Roadhog has said in the Formula 1 chat.
Apparently I threw to Kurt when he was doing a bunch of shit. I know what that's like. You know what that's like.
I
I wouldn't have realised. I thought it was just Kurt.
Nah, he sounded a bit preoccupied.
He did.
Oh yeah, it's good. And I thought I'm giving you. I don't know what's going on.
You don't get it? Yo!
Oh, I was reading Burr's comment.
Oh, I didn't even look at that. It was investigated, closed, then reinvestigated.
It wasn't investigated, closed, and reinvestigated.
It was, yeah.
They said it didn't need
investigation, and
then
they were like,
they
okay,
changed
fine,
their
we'll investigate it.
I don't know why it's a controversy. I think they got the right call personally.
I disagree. But you know, that's you know, opinions are like arseholes.
Max,
some of them are nice and some of them aren't.
Max gave it a space and he got it.
But then you want him to be able to.
It's such a fun thing to do, but you also don't want to encourage people to like crash into each other. I was just trying to be that like before, so if I overshadowed what was British maybe.
Really depends on who's close to that. But do you reckon the setup will be the same on the weekend?
Pretty much.
Cool.
Do you have any critiques of it?
I mean, ideally standing, I think, but
I can't do much about that.
no, I was about to say, but that's not something that's really doable.
One thing I didn't realise, I couldn't see any of the times that were in this corner of the screen.
So maybe a taller thing for that.
Yeah, maybe, or even just like bring it across this way.
Yeah. I was going to say I had no live timing because it was on your laptop, but if I have the iPad over this side.
Yeah, that's what like I was saying, because well, last time I had my laptop in in Aaron's other screen.
Yeah.
But you said you couldn't read it.
Yeah, because I'm blind as fucking bat.
I guess I could have live timing on one of those.
No, that's iPad would be able to do it fine.
Yeah.
I just need to
And
make
then
sure
you
it's
can
touched
sort
up.
of focus on it a little bit. Like focus on what it is you want to read out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Sweet.
Cool.
Sorry. Oh, it wasn't as loud as I thought it was. I might got away with that one.
Oh, you did like a couple during the race that were.
Did they smell?
I didn't smell, but like, the fact that I could hear